In year 11 overall, I'm a New Jersey public school special education teacher. So in my first 6 years, I taught middle school and high school special education. And then after year 6, I made the shift into what's called child study team. So my title now is Learning Disability Teacher Consultant, still for the public schools in New Jersey. So it was a lateral move. It wasn't anything administrative. My OG cert was finally done. And I said, well, let's go privately tutor, let's go tutor some kids. And I only was tutoring 1 or 2 kids per week. And then as time went on, in the past 2 years, the need has just absolutely grown in terms of private tutoring. So I'm still working full time in the New Jersey public school by day. And then at nighttime, from about 3:30 p.m. till I would say some nights 6:30, some nights 7:30, I will tutor in and out of the home. I don't have my own center. I just actually officially made Genny of All Trades an LLC this past April 2019. I work in a capacity of testing, consulting, and managing IEPs, writing IEPs, which I enjoy. And then after school, in the private tutor realm, I see kids privately for Orton Gillingham, for reading comp and writing development, for organization, executive function type of skills, study skills, just trucking through their assignments as needed. So that's a lot in itself, a lot of variety. I just started working with my youngest student in kindergarten, and he has literacy deficits, behavior deficits, inattention. So that's been a nice challenge for me to get my hands wrapped around that. And now we're, doubling the challenge by trying to still make my services available for the younger ones, especially with shorter sessions virtually. So many, I will say that they usually can be broken down into 2 main groups. The first group would be academic struggles. From our littlest ones, that typically means, having a hard time learning how to read and to spell. And that impacts then emotionality outside of the academics. So there's the academics that feed into emotionality. And then sometimes students are actually academically fine or average or above average, but they might be struggling functionally to deal with their emotions, self-regulation, attention, distraction, impulsivity. So that then will impact their ability to complete academic tasks. So they both intertwine, even though a lot of times people want to label them as separate things, and that's totally fine, but there's no denying that they come together. To showcase, this is a simple technique, and, that way somebody can say, okay, she's doing that. And I also am very repetitive with a lot of my Elkinen boxes and the chips. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that repetition, somebody will say, you know what, let me try that. And the thing is that in what I do, we have to treat the child as a full package, not just as they have reading issues and that's it. Reading issues and then what other things are happening.
Yeah, so what happens if we just kind of band-aid solutions on kind of these diagnoses and symptoms that we see? We see a child who struggles to read and, we get them a reading tutor, and then all of a sudden they're acting out in class. And so then maybe they have a 504 or a behavior plan. What do you see happening when we don't look at the whole child and you're seeing just these band-aid solutions?
Well, then, like anything in life, when you focus your attention on one thing and your energy flows to that, then that one thing will hopefully improve, but then you might be neglecting other areas of your life or the child's life. So it would be a dangerous thing to just then focus only on that one area. I would absolutely advocate for getting the academic gaps dealt with immediately and as young as the child as possible. But we also then don't want to neglect the math skills per se. Like, let's say if they're struggling with the reading and writing and then we neglect the math, and all of a sudden reading and writing is brought up, but now the math is behind. I think the underlying skill that needs to still be there and never band-aided, but just an ongoing part of life is the growth mindset skill. It's developing, kids who believe in themselves and build that resilience. And we sometimes in education are just so wrapped up in getting those scores up and getting those skills up and getting that data up that, growth mindset is not a measurable thing at this time. It's just a day-to-day thing we observe and see in personality and behavior, which
we can't always back data with that, but that's something we have to always be mindful of. And I know many teachers and parents are mindful of it, but I think it even needs to be even more increased, because kids are now shutting down, not wanting to come to the table, needing a lot of bribery to come to the tutoring table. So it's all important to not band-aid each thing and try the best you can, even though it's very daunting and intimidating, because it's a whole child. It's the whole child. So I think the first step in like anything in life is state the issue, address it, notice it, and then think, what is the first 1, 2, 3 things I need as a parent or a teacher to do to start, overcoming it. One of the most important things I think to really look at is your daily schedule. What you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep as a child is going to start setting the tone and having some type of consistent, appropriate pattern. So my big thing as a case manager or as a tutor is really asking the questions, what are the day-to-day habits, routines that you have, and where can we start making tweaks and adjustments in the morning routine to start the day for school a little better? Or when they return from school and homework is such a nightmare of an experience, how can we change the nightmare into a positive experience? You're given a math assignment, but your emotions are here, and we have to bring it back over to the math assignment. So how can I help bring you back over here? Trying to really focus in on the content, the subject and the content, along with those organization skills, along with the confidence growth mindset. Do things that will benefit kids who are struggling to read, labeled dyslexic or not, kids who are labeled ADHD or not. So just really trying to bring small nuggets of a teaching strategy that could hopefully lead to such a more positive, less stressful experience for that teacher and parent. And then as far as going to the private area, I really don't try to bring my case manager hat into the private tutoring world. I really just try to go in and be that tutor and remediate and instruct. But there are sometimes families who will ask me some questions about obtaining services, the process of going through that, and that's when I say, okay, I'm taking off my tutor hat and I'm going to put on my case manager hat, and just so you know the difference, I'm not trying to talk negatively against the school district, and I'm not trying to promote myself, but a lot of times I do try to just make them intertwine positively, and sometimes it might come off like one is not playing ball with the other. So I try to really be respectful of both, because they're both important.